One of those kinds of days again. I've just been I've been thinking pretty much the whole day about the idea of leaving leaving the country, leaving the internet for a period of either 1 or 2 years, preferably two, um, and then coming back, a wholly changed person, a new star. Um, And it's pretty much impossible for me to do this with the kind of money that, I would have at any point in the future. But it's one that I think about all the time. Um, because, like, I look at who I am, the person that I am now, and I feel like I just need a hard reset to be more interesting or to come back with a renewed perspective on things. Because it's sort of like, I have one foot in the past, one eye looking at the past, and then, one in the present, to where I'm never quite viewing things, um, like as they're happening right now. It's sort of filtered through the lens of how things used to be. And it's not nearly as bad as this problem once was. But I feel like, in order to completely take the problem head on, um, I'd have to have more experiences. I'd have to leave for a while and then, come back a different person. Um, and then have tons and tons of new stories to tell, a whole new perspective for an audience who, hasn't seen me in forever. Um, I think it would be good. I think it would be good to get away from the internet for that long, to be gone for, well, for quite some time, then come back. I think it would be an improvement over the way things are right now. Because, like, I go on Discord, um, and I can't help myself but get into constant misunderstandings. Like, it's not like I get into arguments with people, that usually doesn't happen. But, I, like, I've gotten so frustrated with language recently because there'll be an idea I want to express or something I want to explain, and I just won't know how to put it into words, and I'll become not frustrated with the other person per se or with their interpretation of what I'm saying. I become frustrated with myself for not being able to word the idea correctly, because it's no fault of theirs. Like, the fact that they don't understand it means that I'm not explaining it well enough. And so, I sort of see it as like a failure of communication on my end. But also, one of the problems I run into with talking to people is that, it always feels like communication is inherently flawed. Like there's some level of distance between everyone. And even though we're translating our thoughts into language and we're using the most effective language that we think we can, they're never quite accurate, like your thoughts are never going to be fully what they were originally. That's an impression that is yours. You have it. And the act of putting it into words is just sort of trying to translate that thought. And you can translate well, you can make the meaning relatively known, but you're never going to be able to fully communicate the idea. You're never going to be fully able to be understood. And out of this frustration, continuous frustration I've had with words, I've tried to learn how to use them better. I've tried as hard as I possibly can to look at language and how to express things, and on some level, like, it feels almost like it isn't for me. Like, it feels like using language in an abstract sense is something that, doesn't really feel natural to me. It's something that I have to train myself how to do, and the reason I do it is because that's how I can be understood. I want people to understand my perspective. And it seems kind of like narcissistic endeavor, but I mean, every endeavor is kind of. I mean, you live with yourself. You know, you have to occupy the space that you occupy. You're always with your mind. There's going to be certain sensitivities that you have to other people as a result of spending so much time with your mind. And in order to make it more comfortable, you seek this sort of external validation, or not even validation, like not people agreeing with you, but simply people going, oh, I see where you're coming from. So you mean this? Yes, I mean exactly that, you know? I don't want people to agree. You know, like, on most things that I say, I'm not trying to advocate for my point of view. I don't really care what you think. You can think whatever you want. There's a couple key issues that I hold morally that I would like people to move a couple inches on and come to my side, but I understand why they wouldn't. You know, most of those things are just like making the world easier for me. Like, I think if everyone had this mindset of trying to understand other people, the world would be a lot easier, especially for me because I'm such a weird guy that like I put more emphasis on the importance of being understood because I've been othered by so many people. You know, I've always been an outlier, was bullied a lot. And so out of, you know, being so socially isolated, I sort of seeked understanding as a way out of it. You know, being able to communicate myself in words as a way of making myself more appealing to other people. Because I wasn't going to move an inch on a lot of the things about myself or a lot of the things that I believed. There are certain things that have been the same about me for over 10 years even. I'm not kidding. Um, and I don't think a lot of those things are going to change anytime soon. Um, and I always saw fault in other people for not getting where I was coming from, than fault in myself for feeling that way. And that's probably why I continued to get bullied, was because, you know, I would be arrogant um, about what I believed. But you know, other people would have eventually came around to the consensus. I didn't. I chose not to, because I believed what I believed, and I was who I was. It wasn't even just a matter of beliefs. It was just a matter of being who you are. I didn't want to compromise that in order to impress other people. Of course, I did get into a people pleasing period, or I got into a somewhat people pleasing period, where I was kind of putting on masks more often. But I think that was more for like a direct goal. Like I had goals in mind that I did that for. But regardless, I don't want to get too much into the nuances of that. Um, Basically, the point I'm making is that language is very flawed. And because I've been othered by society, I sort of seeked to try and use it better as a way of being charismatic and influencing people. Ooh, you know, that kind of thing. I freaked him out with that. He doesn't like the sound effects. Um, but what was I going on about? Yeah, basically, you know, language is very flawed. Certain ideas are never going to be, well, all ideas are never going to be communicated fully to their fullest possible extent. But if you look at my art, like the written videos, you know, like the laundromats are cool is a good example of one, or these four walls is a good example of one. Poetry is cool. There are still four walls. Those story-centric written videos, videos that are scripted and written, um, they're just stories that I was telling. Like, I have analytical points that I make in them, but the tenor of the writing, the way that the writing is written, is to sort of guide you through my thought process and to make you feel the emotions that I feel through emotive wording, through placing certain words in certain places, through using certain music, certain footage, speaking in a certain way. No, the goal is to bring you onto a journey, to make you feel the things that I'm feeling through wording, not to necessarily explain to you how I'm feeling sheerly through words, because I lack the capacity to do so. I'm simply not able to do that. But I've realized that, you know, the most impactful explanation that I can give to be understood is actually to just make you experience my feelings through the writing. Um, and that's how I write, like I tell stories. I'm a storyteller. That's how I make people understand me, is through telling stories, not just through making points. Um, and it's just sort of born out of who I am. Um, and sometimes I do that really well. Other times, I completely fall flat on my face, and I'm trying to explain things in a way that's less than ideal. I'm getting chills now for some reason. No, it's funny, like the other day I felt like I had a fever. Felt like I had a fever, but I got chills in the same day. And I'm kind of getting chills a little bit now. Jeez. Yeah, my throat has hurt for I think about a week now. I think it's been about a week. My throat's hurt. Um, Not fun. Not fun to have your throat hurt all the time. I was sick for like one day. Like, I want to say it was like it was a while ago. It was like earlier this month. I was sick for one day. Um, and yeah, I had like, was coughing a little bit, and I just felt really sick. And ever since then, my throat is hurt. I get chills sometimes. Most of the time, my throat is just hurt. I had a theory. I was developing a theory that I had COVID-19, but I didn't feel bad enough because I had those flu-like symptoms, like for one day, and then they were gone day after. And instead, I've just been sort of left with the residue of having a sore throat. Um, I don't know what that's necessarily about. It would be really funny if I had COVID, but anyway, COVID is an Asian colloquialism, so I'm going to go on to talking about Japan now. Um, if I were to like study in Japan and be completely disconnected from the internet, no distractions of any kind, except maybe like the host family, like a Japanese host family having like a computer. I mean, they would have a Japanese keyboard, so I'd really just be exploring the Japanese internet. Um, Maybe they would have that, but like a lot of host families are just old people, and a lot of Japanese people don't even have computers. Like computers aren't really a normal thing in Japan. Um, Outside of the workplace, a personal computer never really caught on. Neither did the internet in really any significant way there. Um, People still use flip phones all the time. And so if I had a host family, they probably wouldn't have a computer. If they did, it would be in Japanese. And even if they did have a computer, I probably would not even be allowed to use it because I, spend quite some time not being able to properly communicate with them or ask questions. There'd probably be quite, some time of me doing that. Um, so, uh, if like I know I'd need like 24,000 bucks to go to a Japanese school for 2 years, which is quite a lot of money. I don't remember exactly how much per month it costs to stay with a host family. It's not too expensive, but basically, I'd need like over 24,000. You start entering like the 36,000 range kind of in order to do an exhibition like that. Um and that's a lot of money. My original plan was to go to New York. It was to go to New York and get a job there. I was going to live in the homeless shelter that I went to when I ran away from home in December 2018. When I ran away from home in 2018, I went to this shelter who told me they would give me transitional housing for, up to a year for free and give me a job. New York minimum wage is 15 bucks. So my thinking was Well, if I go there and I just use their transitional housing for a year, um, I would be able to, what is it called? I'd be able to have enough money saved to go then, take that money, um, and, uh, and, uh, go to Japan. I'd have to take out a loan though. I'd have the initial capital to be able to take out a loan, but I would be able to take out a loan. It's like at that point I really don't care. It's like what are they gonna do? Garnish me? Yeah, I'll have to pay garnishment for a long ass time. I don't care. But go to another country, get a daft visa. Go to the Netherlands? Huh, you can't get me. I'm in the Netherlands now. Fuck you. Debt doesn't travel that way. It literally doesn't. I found that out that if you go to another country, they just can't go after you for debt. Fucking sick, dude. Um, but like, what was I saying? Yeah. So I wanted to save up a bunch of money, and then like go into debt, and then go to like Russia or Japan for like a year or 2 years, um, and just not be online. Just just be focused on the study, the task at hand, until I come back when I'm like 21 or I guess at this point I have to if I were to do this plan now, I'd have to wait until this COVID stuff is over to do this plan. So I'd be leaving at 19 because COVID's probably not going to be over until like April of next year. So I'd be leaving home at 19 to go pursue work in New York. And then I'd have to wait for the time it takes to get a job. I don't know how long it would take for them to set me up with a job. Um, I have to do that for a year, so I'll be 20 by that point. Um, and then I'd be 22 by the time that I got back. Who knows if I'd even still have this plan by then? I'll probably have a different plan. Knowing me, I'll probably have a different plan. Um, so it's unlikely that this plan will be fulfilled, but it's something that I've constantly thought about for quite some time now. A couple years, I want to say. Uh, I wasn't thinking about it in 2017 or 2018 because both of those years I was just focused on improving content. Um, but throughout 2019 and through yeah, pretty much all of 2019, uh, and I guess like late 2018 I was thinking about it. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about it late 2018 as well. Um, certain kind of a lot in late 2018 when we get to that like late like middle like fall and winter portion all the time. So um the idea of just like incessantly wanting to leave the internet and then come back as a more interesting developed person, a new character with all these stories to tell, and people who are excited to see you when you come back because you haven't been there for all this time, you know this sort of concept. um I've been thinking about it for, a while now. As for like just leaving the country in general, Jesus Christ. I've wanted to live in another country since I was 8 years old. I said I didn't want to live in America. A lot of things happened when I was 8 years old. I wonder why that is. Maybe I should just analyze the year I was 8 years old. Um, but no, I said I didn't want to be an American anymore. That just wasn't interested in that. So ever since then, it'll be 10 years pretty soon. Woo! 2 weeks from now. No, not 2 weeks, 12 days. It'll 12 days from now. 12 days from now, it'll be 10 years ago that I was 8 years old. Amazing. 10 out of 10. Number go up. Number go up. Clap, clap. Claps for star. Um, so, what was I going on about? Jesus Christ, I lost my fucking train of thought, as always. Um, shit. I don't remember what it was. Oh, yeah. So I wanted to leave the country for a long time. That's been incredibly consistent. That's not going away. I know that. As for these continuous obsessive feelings of wanting to be away from the internet, um, I mean, oh geez, if I were to talk about wanting to be away from the internet, that's been basically consistent ever since I started using Discord more regularly. Yeah, like ever since I started using Discord more regularly, I immediately wanted to not use it anymore. So that was 2017 that happened at like summer of that year. Um, like spring-ish, kind of around there, summer. I ever since then, like I would like randomly leave Discord all the time, and then I would come back after a, quote unquote Discord hiatus. It became a habit of mine to, leave for like a week and then come back, or leave for a couple days and then come back, or leave for a day and then come back. And I've been doing that off and on for almost 3 years now. Um, it's interesting. It's interesting how that happens. Um, but I always saw Discord as like the enemy of my productivity. My productivity was being actively taken down a peg by the fact that I had people who I was talking to. I wanted to become a better writer. I wanted to become better at speaking on YouTube. Those were my main goals. And so of course I saw talking to people naturally as um, a distraction, as something that was impeding me from that goal, keeping me from getting there. Um, and it's been a battle. It's been a continuous battle. And that was part of my thinking for the longest time, is that if I could just be forced into a situation where I don't have a PC, where I'm forced to do one task and be focused on that task and get really good at that task, and there's no way that I can be distracted, no way that I can have other people to talk to. I can become really, really good at that task in a shorter span of time. Um, and I don't know, I guess my general like infatuation with isolation, being alone, doing things by myself, comes from the fact that you don't get hurt as easily that way. It's the good old hedgehog's dilemma, is that through interacting with other people, you naturally are going to lead yourself into situations where um, there are misunderstandings, and those misunderstandings cause conflicts. They cause, emotional, friends leaving you and stuff. General distress, anxiety, all kinds of things. There's all kinds of negatives associated with talking with other people, all kinds. Um, and I'd like to believe, like the message of Ava, that if you just embrace those connections in spite of everything, then life can be pretty good. I'd like to believe that. And I know on some level that is true. But, but, it doesn't take away the pain in the moment. The pain in the moment of being there with someone and just desperately not knowing what's going on or knowing how to explain. And that can be really scary. Human connections in general, there's all these problems that arise, like randomly getting romantic feelings for a longtime friend of yours. How does that happen? What? Why is that a thing? You know? You feel painful. I mean, I'm pretty good about that. Like, I don't tend to care very long. Like, it takes me a couple days to get over somebody. It's pretty easy. I'm not Yoshika Miyako Red, where he literally ends up making, videos about his ex like a month after he broke up with her. It's like, dude, what is going on, dude? Come on, calm down. Stop being so pathetic. Um, I'm able to get over people in a couple days. But anyway, that's painful nonetheless. Having to wait a couple days to get over it is painful nonetheless. Other problems. What other problems arise? There's plenty of them. I can't think of too many off the top of my head. But yeah, all kinds of things can potentially happen. Um, And it's painful, scary. It's easier just to be alone. That's the easy way out. You want to take the easy way out? It's easier to be alone. But it's also tremendously hard once you get, Discord addiction and stuff. It's easier though, you know? If I, if I had a lot more money, I think I'd probably spend a lot more time alone. Because, I could like buy drugs and stuff. I could buy video games. I could buy books. It's totally occupied all the time occupied. Um, a more ideal viewing situation for anime. I mean, I've been watching anime anyway. That's the great thing. I've been watching anime anyway, just sitting in my chair. I don't give a fuck. 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 He's really not reacting to this bit. I don't think he cares. It's a nice dog. But yeah, like as I made it through 4 episodes of Izetta the Last Witch. Good show so far. It's a 6 out of 10 war story. Just, very clear cut, good guy, bad guy situation. I appreciate that it's seemingly based off of World War II. So they called the evil empire that they're fighting against Germania. And then there's Britannia. This is like part of the Allies. Very on the nose. Japan seems to do this with World War II a lot in their shows. Is that they'll show you like an exact map of Europe and have the evil country be dead center where Germany is, but they'll give Germany a different name. Um, and they'll use the aesthetics of Nazis anyway. I don't know why they do that. I think it's pretty funny. Um, but yeah. What was I going on about? I don't really remember what it was. Oh yeah, I've been watching way more shows than normal. I'm gonna jinx it because I said it in a video. Fuck you, Star, for always doing that. No, I'll be fine. Um, but yeah, like if I had more media to consume, I'd probably be fine with being alone more often. Like when I was playing Metro Last Light on my Switch, like that game was taking up, a couple hours of my day at once. I did the same thing with Saints Row 3 when I played through Saints Row 3. I would play that game for, several hours of the day. It just wasn't on Discord. Um, they got the fourth game coming out now, or it did come out on the Switch. They put it there, and I want to play that because I generally like the series. Um, but you know, I had to put quite a bit of money towards bills, food, that I got through ad revenue. It's a saving grace that ad revenue is around because, like, ad revenue allows me to pay for more of the, like, daily life stuff, kind of. And then I would just use Patreon, some of my Patreon at least. Other times, like, all of it, but sometimes, you know, like, you know, um, I'd be able to use it for, like, stuff for myself, stuff to improve the videos, like things to talk about in videos. If I'm buying books, for example, that's informing my perspective, which is making the videos have more interesting ideas because I'm educating myself. Like playing a game is just kind of leisure time. But I think like even getting a drug contributes to the videos. It's like I'm on acid or something, and I have a really interesting idea on acid that I can use in a video, then boom, hey, video right there. If I get really drunk and I start having an impassioned rant, record on video, boom, video right there. Like there's videos I made that I would never have made if not for being intoxicated, that some people say are some of my best videos. So that contributes to the content. Um, but then, I have gotten things just to generally improve the quality of my videos as well. And I think of everything in these terms. Like I think like, if I get some random RC off the internet, it's like This is for my personal enjoyment, but at the same time, how is this going to affect my content? Um, and I have to be very careful about that because, again, so much of my money that I do get ends up going to personal responsibility stuff. Um, stuff like paying bills around here, stuff like getting food around here, stuff like paying the rent, you know? So it really is a predicament we find ourselves in every day. Basically what I was going on about is I hope I can store up like a astral projection style video of me being in Japan eventually. Like, it's 2 years just gone. But this is part of like I shut myself out of Discord. And the reason I did that was because like I just don't want to be around people. I just don't want to be around people. I wasn't around people for an entire month, basically, in the month of November. Um, or it was a large part of October and then November, if I recall correctly. Because I came back to Discord November 18th, I want to say. It's a large part of October and a large part of November. I wasn't on Discord at all, basically a full month. And the reason I came back was because Shikimiyako Red, released this video called Lonely, a vlog of him just depressingly walking to the 7-Eleven, where he said he missed talking to me, and that Twisted was always asleep, that he had like 3 people, me, Gummy, and Twisted, who he wanted to talk to. He didn't talk to anybody else. This was before he started e-whoring. This was before he started e-whoring himself all over the internet and being an attention seeker. And so, I felt really bad for the guy. And I came back to Discord right then and there. I made a new account because I lost the password to the old one, and I came back just to talk to that guy. Just to be there for him. I let go of a month of my own isolation. And that was a really motivating thing for me, by the way. Being able to be isolated for over a month. It was really motivating. Because it made me realize I can do it. I can actually still do it. I hadn't done it for a while at that point. It had been a while since I had last done it, but there I was. I could still do it. It was motivating. And of course, everything went all back to normal and came crashing down just because Red made a sad video and I felt bad for him and wanted to help. Empathy is a bitch. The most pain I have ever received in my life has been because of empathy. I had post-traumatic stress disorder, diagnosed. I'm diagnosed with PTSD. I've been through some horrible stuff. I've been through some stuff that would kill the average person, not a joke. If you've heard some of my stories of neglect, abuse, trauma, these kind of things, it's a lot more than any of you have ever experienced. I have PTSD because of it. Certain things I just don't talk about because I get a flashback sometimes. And so I there's a lot of stuff that I literally just try to ignore. I just keep it out of my mind. Because I don't want to get into that mental state again. But I have a bunch of stuff like that, It's there. It exists. And you think some of the stories I've told are horrible and scary, terrifying, abusive. Hold my beer. Hold my beer, friend. You don't even know half of it. So, I've been through a lot. And, empathy, more than anything else, consistently seems to keep getting me into trouble. I feel pain when someone I care about is hurt, when I can't help someone I care about, I want to help them, and I feel bad because there's nothing I can do, I may not even mention it. I may not even mention it that I feel that way about them, because I don't want them to feel bad. I'll just say, something to the effect of, well, it's decisions, blah, blah, blah. Some sort of kind of neutral position to take. Better soon. Hope you're alright. Here for you. Kind of thing. I don't think I say it enough. It's one of the things I kick myself in the teeth for, is not saying it enough. But I do get really worried sometimes. I do feel really bad for some people. And I make mistakes because of my empathy. I trust the wrong people. I become friends with them. I keep them around for way too long. They fuck me over because I care about them. Because I'm caring about the wrong people. It is what it is. It is what it is. I fantasize about being rich a lot. About being a rich person. Not to spend enormous amounts of money on myself, but to spend enormous amounts of money on other people. I have so many friends where if I was a millionaire, I'd pay so many things for them. Rent money? Done. You need a place to live? I'll give you a place to live if you don't want to pay for that place. No one I know would ever have to worry about losing a meal anymore because I would be their friend. I think about that a lot. I have a lot of friends that are in that kind of pain. And it isn't me trying to be narcissistic by saying this, because this channel has an audience of no people. And this video is probably too damn long for me to ever put on the main channel. I doubt any of you are actually going to reach this point of the video anyway. It's really just for me. That's what most of these secret channels are. They really are just for me. I make these videos because I need a way to decompress. I need a way to put my thoughts into words. I need a release from having those thoughts. Because not everyone you tell these things to are going to be receptive to them. Someone who I consider to be one of my best friends, no one who watches this channel, they're not subscribed. I was telling them that I'd been feeling really suicidal recently. And they basically just said, suicide is kind of a funny thing, because a lot of the people who say they want to commit suicide are looking for attention. Funny. Very funny. This is, I'm doing the little drum thing here. Ba-dum-ch, ba-dum-ch. Yeah, very funny. Very funny. What an interesting analytical point you just made there. And they went on to top it by saying, I think all these people who are attempting suicide, or who are talking about it, if they're failing at it, or if they're not able to get it done, I don't think they really wanted to commit suicide. This is me like hammering the drum as hard as I can. Haha, so funny. It's so funny, dude. It's so fucking funny. It's really, really, really funny. Hilarious. I'm laughing so hard right now. Are you laughing? Are you laughing? He's laughing. Even he's laughing. He's got a smile on his face. So funny. Funny. And that's what they told me. That's what they told me when I told them I wanted to kill myself. That I'm seeking attention, and that it's none of my feelings are genuine. That's just an amazing thing to tell someone. Amazing thing to tell someone. my feelings aren't real, and I'm just, I should just kill myself if I'm being honest about it, right? It's kind of insincere to not kill yourself, dude. What the fuck? What the fuck? How do you how do you say something like that to someone who's supposed to be one of your best friends? Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Amazing, 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 amazing. Um so no, people problems. I have a lot of people problems. People problems. I have a lot of them. I think that's what I'll call this video, people problems. Um that's why these channels exist. Is to get is to for one, give me something to do, because if I am going to be alone more often, and I've been in a continual process of trying to be alone more often, um, I'm gonna need to occupy my time more. And one of the ways to do that is to make really long videos, because for the length of the video that you're talking, at least, that time has been occupied. One more hour through the day to get through, till the next day when we start up all over again, avoiding the people problems. My Discord password I changed. I wrote it down. The email, I literally threw away the email associated with that account. I cannot get into that email anymore. Don't have the password for it. Lots of amazing things coming down the pike, I suppose. It's like, if I ever lost that piece of paper, I know where it is. I have it in a hidden place. It would be so funny if I forgot where the piece of paper was one day. Like, I just forgot where it was, and I wanted to get back into my account after like a week of withdrawal. And I try to get back into my account after a week of withdrawal. Um, and I just can't find the piece of paper, so I end up not doing it and trying to find a more creative way of occupying my time. That would be so funny. But I know where it is. I don't think I'm gonna forget. Um, but that's the MO. ATM. Anything else? Any last words? Regrets? Goodbyes? Compassionate moment speech? No? Alright, buddy. I love you too.